This means that our drinking water is safe to drink and the city is not overflowing. However, if Slussen was not there and these 70 centimeters would not be there, then we would have problems. Happily, we have Slussen. Now on the right hand side you see the biggest island that Stockholm is built upon. And if anyone here likes fika, you like fika everyone? Tried it? The international guests, you've tried it? It's what we call our coffee breaks here in Sweden. So a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with sweet treats like a cinnamon bun or princess cake, that will be your fika. Here in Sweden we love our fika so much that most workplaces have 2 scheduled fika breaks during the day. You gotta drink the coffee, oh no, for us, wow. No, it's really fine, we love it. And if you love fika, Södermalm is the place to be because it's the most fika-dense place in the entirety of Sweden. It has around 150 fika places, which means you are never further than a maximum of 2 minutes away from your next fika. Lovely. If you want to know some stereotypes about Stockholm, this is the hipster mecca. The stereotypical Södermalm resident is a cappuccino-driven vintage enthusiast who works at some weird media company, and in their spare time they have some weird art project that they are the only person to really understand, and maybe not even that. Now this is a stereotype, it won't hold up in real life when you meet actual people. Do what you want with that information. Now on the left hand side you see the amusement park of Gröna Lund. That is the oldest amusement park we have here in Sweden. It opened in 1883. Very old. And you might hear screams coming from there. Part of those screams are from people riding on the rides, and part of those screams are from people who have realized just how expensive Scandinavia is. You also see next to Gröna Lund Stockholm's only giraffe. Yeah, his name is Thor. He used to be a normal crane back in the 80s when they were building something there. And then they finished and thought, well, it's time to take this crane down. Then someone decided to paint it like a giraffe. And now we have a giraffe. His name is Thor, we like him very much. Great guy. Doesn't say much, but great guy. Now, Thor is the name of an old Norse god. Anyone seen the Marvel movies about him? It's about Thor, the god of thunder, and Loki, the god of mischief. Marvel movies? Anyone? Yeah? Very inaccurate. Very inaccurate. Not like the Norse mythology at all. Quite good movies, but not accurate. Which brings me to another very inaccurate thing in today's pop culture. Vikings. This ship, Angantyr, built in 1909 by the way, is named after an old Viking legend. He was also called Angantyr, and he had a magical sword called Tyrfing. Tyrfing could cut through anything like it was paper. Just like this ship can do in the winter when there's ice. Would love to show you, but there's no ice, so too bad for us, I guess. Now, Tyrfing also had a curse connected to it, which wielded misery on everyone who wielded it. But let's talk about something else. The curse is connected to this ship, right? Yep. And so the Vikings. When you think of Vikings, you think of big brutes, warriors, rowdy, dirty, right? Horns on their helmets. Not true, actually. The Vikings, first of all, Viking was not a word they used back then to describe themselves. It was a verb for going out to another country or some other place to either raid or trade, because most of the Vikings were businessmen. You know, this animal that comes when a city is created. So if you said, I'm going a Viking, be home tomorrow, it meant you were going to another country to do some trading or some raiding. And Vikings, they took very great care of themselves. They braided their beards, they combed their hair. We have actually found more combs in the northern parts of Scandinavia than in all of the rest of Europe during this time. Viking Age was from the year 800 until the year 1050. And like I said, they rarely went out to raid, they went to trade, so people weren't really scared of the Vikings. Seeing a Viking rarely meant, ah, a Viking, and more like, ah, a Viking, because they were really handsome, and they even washed themselves once a week. Which might not sound like a lot for us today, but back then that was like washing yourself every day. So they were quite clean for their time. And of course they didn't have horns on their helmets. I know we all like to think it's not true. Why did they not have horns? Well, have you ever gone to the gym, picked up 2 dumbbells and tried to put them on your head and walk? You look like a drunk person on Midsummer who had way too much snaps. Yeah. And also, if you were the enemy of the Viking and you came and saw the Viking having horns, you would surely go for the horns, right? And if you went for the horns, you would take half the brain with you as well. So being a Viking with horns on your helmet, instant death. Not great war tactics, or so I've heard. Now coming up on the right hand side of our ship, we see a beautiful house with green roof and brick walls. Real palace looking house. Do you think it looks like a palace, everyone? Is that house over there? Guess what thought it looked like a palace? The British fleet in the 20th century. They came here, completely peaceful manners, and they were going in here and thought we should salute the King and Queen of Sweden. This house they looked at and thought that must be the Royal Palace. Now we know, because we saw the Royal Palace before, that this is not the Royal Palace. No, this was, and still is today, a retirement home. A home for old people. Around 300 old people live there, and if you want to live there you can, but there's a waiting list. But it's a retirement home, so the list goes by pretty quickly. But back in the 20th century, when they came here, the British fleet, they fired off 21 cannon shots. And instead of seeing the royal family waving from the windows, they saw screaming old people, scared out of their minds. Understandably, I would be too if I saw the entire British fleet coming and firing cannons outside of my house. The British admiral, he realized, oh no, I've made a huge mistake. Tried to do a little sorry, and kept going to the correct palace and fired off 21 new cannon shots outside of the correct palace this time. So if you're ever embarrassed about anything you do, always remember, hey, at least I'm not a British admiral from the 20th century thinking that an old people home is the Royal Palace of Sweden. Maybe you'll feel a bit better then. Now if you look to the left hand side of our boat, you see the second biggest island that Stockholm is built upon. This is Djurgården, or in English that translates to animal yard or animal garden. It got its name because it's an old private hunting ground of the royal family. And actually the royal family still owns it today. And Djurgården, to live here, or even build something at all, you will need to get approved of by the king himself. Yeah, so only around 800 to 900 people actually live here on Djurgården. So if you want to live on Djurgården, you will either need to have a great network of connections, or so much money that you can make yourself a great network of connections. If you keep looking at Djurgården, you will see a yellow house that is called the Upper Manila. It's a private school for rich kids. And one of the kids attending this school is the one I have mentioned before during this tour. Our Princess Estelle, future Queen of Sweden. hopefully in quite a few years, quite a lot of years. Her mother still has to become queen first, and hopefully it's a few years until then as well. We like a king and we like Crown Princess Victoria as well. But one day Princess Estelle will be queen. Now she's on summer break, so she won't be there right now, but in the rest of the year when it's school, she is there unless she has a reason not to be. Or if she's skipping. I don't know how much royals actually skip school, actually. Maybe that's something to think about. And if you look to the right hand side of the upper Manila, you see the lower Manila. The lower Manila is also called the Bonnier Villa, because it is owned by the Bonnier family, and they are also the family who owns the biggest book publishing company here in Sweden. Back in 1944, they made a very costly mistake. They had an author come and with a book that she wanted published. It was a book about this strong girl living alone in her house with a horse and a monkey. Sound familiar? Pippi Longstocking? Yeah, you know it? Have you read it? Did you like it? Yeah, nice. They didn't. They thought it sucked. Like really, really sucked. They refused to publish it. So they said, come back when you have something publishing worthy. So Astrid Lindgren had to wait another year for Pippi Longstocking to get published. But it did. And we are very happy for that, because we love Pippi Longstocking. We love her so much that we put both her and Astrid Lindgren on our 20 kronor bills. So we have Astrid here in the middle and then Pippi Longstocking to the side. I'll go around and show it to you. So you see Astrid in the middle and Pippi Longstocking. I actually had a teacher last year, a singing teacher. She was an actual descent of Astrid Lindgren, a relative. I think it was her grandfather was Astrid's brother. So there's Astrid and there is Pippi. Yeah. They pride themselves to be one of the most visited places in all of Sweden. Around 15 million people visit there each year. Quite nice numbers. Would be even higher if they had an IKEA. Because a newly opened IKEA store here in Stockholm attracted 13 million visitors in a year. But an IKEA will never be built on Djurgården because it's the royal organization running it would say no. Just like they would say no to skyscrapers and shopping malls and even grocery stores. Because this is one of the first city national parks in the world. Which means that it's supposed to be preserved just like it is. And everyone, like museums and animals and people, have equal rights on Djurgården.
How did you know it was Jacob? It goes up to Stockholm and it's the coast of south.
They take care of the abandoned and homeless cats of Stockholm, completely running on donations, volunteers, and lots of cat cuteness. They're really doing God's work. They find forever homes for around 400 cats each year. Lovely people, lovely cats. Now, like I said, I have 2 cats on my own. One old lady, her name is Snurran, that's the spinner if you translate it to English. She's 16 years old and very tired of my younger cat, who is 6 years old, and loves to annoy my older cat. My younger cat is pitch black, and therefore we named her after the Swedish candy Lakrits. Islands that the steamboats that started trafficking the Archipelago stopped at back in the 19th century. This is also the birthplace of Absolute Vodka, if anyone has ever tried that. There was a man here called L.O. Smith. He used to sell 2.6 liter vodka jugs for only 2 Swedish kronor. If you translate that to today's rates, that would be around 14 euros. Which is less than you, if you're unlucky, could get 1 drink for in the city center of Stockholm. So yeah, we Swedes, we love when alcohol is cheap. There is a story behind that, but we will take it on the way back, because now I want you to enjoy this beautiful nature around us without having to listen to me babble on. So try not to miss me too much. I will be back, I promise. But you can just look around, talk to each other, and have a nice time. If you have any questions, I am up to answering them, except math and left and right. Do you have any questions now that I can answer in the microphone?
Where are the free drinks?
Where are the free drinks? They don't exist in Sweden. Yeah. We have expensive alcohol. There is, what is a thing called the free drink? I do not know it. Maybe someday, who knows? Well, I'll let you all enjoy the silence for a while, and I will be back shortly. Have a nice time until then.
Nice. Are you enjoying so far? Nice. That's good to hear. Any questions on anything? Yeah, great. Lovely. Do you have any questions over here? I can't fix the free drinks. Otherwise, I wish, but thank you. Do you have any questions here?
And Bill there. So it didn't. 50 years later, thanks to a student of Carl Milles, we got it here instead. And it was inaugurated in 1995 by our Swedish king Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I am kidding, which you might have guessed. Zlatan is just a football player, and our king, like I told you before, his name is Carl Gustav the 16th. They actually made a statue of Zlatan a few years back in Malmö, his hometown, in gold. Lasted a couple of days before it got torn down. Then they put it up again. Lasted a few days, then it got vandalized once again. They tried a few more times. Same thing happened. Guess the moral of the story, please don't put up a gold statue of yourself while you're still alive. Bad idea. Oh look, we're getting the Gröna Lund experience, but for cheaper. Woo! We are now getting into more of the open water, and we might see a very cute little animal. I say little, but they can weigh up to 300 kilograms, so they can get quite big. I'm talking about the gray seal. Very cute, those seals. We have around 50 to 70,000 of them here in the Baltic Sea. Made quite a comeback. And if you see a seal, I want you to point at it, get my attention, and do the seal sound. You know what the seal sounds like? Something like a haunted dog or cow kind of thing. Something like arr arr, arr arr arr. Wanna do it together, everyone? Everyone on 3. 1, 2, 3. Arr 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 arr. Yeah, well done. We have some more strange sounding animals here in the archipelago. We have a bird called the cormorant. And this bird sounds something like a broken zombie movie chainsaw. Something like You wanna try that as well? Okay, so